You've heard the phrase, "What doesn't kill you makes you stronger." But have you ever wondered how that strength actually develops in your brain? Resilience isn't just a mindset, it's a skill. And like any skill, it can be trained, strengthened, and mastered. Welcome to the Holistic Living Mind podcast, your weekly space where we explore how to thrive, not just survive, by nurturing your mental, physical, and spiritual health together. Hello everyone, I'm Lola. I'm here to guide you on the path to inner peace and holistic health. In our last episode, we explored part 1 of how to build mental and brain resilience. If you missed it, I highly recommend checking it out on our channel. I've also added the link in the description below for easy access. In today's episode, we're diving into part 2, where we'll explore how the brain responds to stress, and how you can begin to rewire your thoughts to stay grounded, even when life feels overwhelming. We'll break down simple daily habits that build mental resilience, along with brain-based techniques to help you stay calm, think clearly, and keep moving forward no matter what challenges come your way. So grab a journal, take a deep breath, and let's start building the kind of resilience that lasts a lifetime. Ready? Let's begin.
You ever have one of those mornings where, everything just goes wrong?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And, maybe it's something small, like spilling your coffee all over yourself, or, you're reaching for the milk for your cereal and you end up pouring orange juice in it instead.
Oh, man. I've been there.
It's like, how does that even happen? But it's just one of those days.
It's just like a sign.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, like the universe is telling you to just go back to bed.
Right. But you know what? Those little moments, they're kind of like mini versions of the bigger challenges we face in life.
Definitely.
Whether it's dealing with loss or job changes, heartbreak, the list goes on.
Yep. Life can throw some curveballs, that's for sure.
It sure can. And that's why we're diving deep into this idea of resilience today.
It's a huge one.
It is. And, we hear this word resilience tossed around a lot these days.
Yeah. It's like a buzzword.
It is. But what does it actually mean? And more importantly, how can we actually cultivate it in our own lives?
That's the big question, right?
Yeah.
Because it's not like we're just born with it.
Exactly. That's one of the key things that came up in all of our research for this deep dive.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Resilience isn't some innate trait like, your eye color. It's something that we develop and strengthen over time.
Like a muscle, you got to work it out.
Exactly. It's a skill set. And that's really empowering because it means we can all get better at it.
I love that perspective.
Me too. So we've got a ton of fascinating material to go through today.
I'm excited.
Me too. We've got expert insights from YouTube channels like The Art of Improvement and Psych2Go.
And those are great channels.
They are. And we're also weaving in some really powerful personal stories that we found from folks like Tasha Shu and others.
That's a great mix.
It is. So our mission in this deep dive is to pull out the most practical and actionable strategies for building resilience.
Okay, so where do we start?
Well, one of the most consistent themes that jumped out at me was the importance of taking a proactive approach.
Instead of just letting things happen to you.
Right, exactly. The Art of Improvement talked a lot about this. They emphasized that resilient people don't shy away from problems or let them fester.
Makes sense. The longer you wait, the bigger the problem gets.
It's so true. It's like when you have a small leak in your roof.
Oh, yeah.
If you ignore it, it's just going to turn into a huge problem down the road.
Huge headache.
Exactly. So resilience is about shifting from feeling like a victim of your circumstances to becoming an active agent in addressing the challenge.
So when something comes up, what's the first thing we should do?
Well, instead of getting overwhelmed by the whole situation, focus on what you can do right now in this moment.
Even if it's just a tiny step.
Exactly. Even if it feels insignificant, taking that small action can help you regain a sense of control.
Because feeling helpless is the worst.
It is. It's so disempowering. So think about something you're currently dealing with, something that's causing you stress.
Okay, got it.
Now ask yourself, what's one tiny action you can take today to address it? Even if it's just making a phone call or writing down a to-do list.
Just to get the ball rolling.
Exactly. It's about moving from feeling stuck to feeling empowered.
I like that.
Another really crucial aspect of building resilience, and this might sound counterintuitive, is prioritizing rest and downtime.
Wait, rest. But there's so much to do.
I know, right? Our culture is all about hustle and productivity.
Always on the go.
But The Art of Improvement made a really strong case for the importance of rest.
I mean, it makes sense when you think about it.
It does. You can't pour from an empty cup.
True, you need to recharge to have the energy to deal with challenges.
Exactly. So ask yourself, are you truly prioritizing rest? Are you getting enough sleep but also giving yourself permission to take breaks throughout the day?
Those mental breaks are so important.
They really are. It's about giving your mind and body a chance to decompress.
Okay, I'm starting to see the connection.
Now, this is where things get really interesting. Several of our sources talked about the power of reframing challenges.
Reframing.
Yeah, instead of viewing difficulties as insurmountable obstacles, see them as opportunities for growth.
That's a big shift in perspective.
It's about asking yourself, what can I learn from this situation instead of why is this happening to me?
Because that why me thinking can really get you stuck.
It keeps you focused on the negative emotions instead of looking for the potential lessons and growth.
So it's about finding the silver lining.
In a way, yes. It's about actively searching for meaning, even in the midst of difficult circumstances.
And that's often where those aha moments happen.
Exactly, when you start to see the situation from a different angle.
Okay, that makes sense.
Another really important element that came up consistently was the power of relationships.
Oh, yeah. Our connections with others.
Exactly. Resilient people understand that they don't have to go through challenges alone. They have strong support systems in place.
So friends, family, mentors, all of that.
Exactly. Those are the people who celebrate your wins and offer support when you're struggling.
It's like having a safety net.
It is. And it's not just about having those people in your life. It's about actively nurturing those relationships.
Making time for them.
Right. Because it's easy to let those connections slip when life gets busy.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
But those bonds are so crucial for our well-being and our ability to bounce back from setbacks.
Okay, so who's in your support system?
Well, I'm lucky to have a really close group of friends and family.
That's awesome.
It is, and I try to make an effort to stay connected with them regularly.
Even if it's just a quick phone call.
Exactly, or, just sending a text to let them know I'm thinking of them.
Little things go a long way.
They do. Now, another really important aspect of resilience is the ability to stay grounded in the present moment.
Not dwelling on the past or worrying about the future.
Right. The Art of Improvement and Psych2Go both talked about this.
It's so easy to get caught up in those thought patterns.
It is our minds love to rehash past mistakes or fret about what might happen.
And that just drains your energy.
It does. It takes you away from what you can actually control in here and now.
So how do we stay present?
Mindfulness practices came up a lot as a way to cultivate that present moment awareness.
Okay, like meditation and stuff.
Yes, exactly. Angie Payton, who shared her experience on Tasha Shu's platform, talked about how helpful mindfulness-based stress reduction, or MBSR, was for her.
MBSR, what's that?
It's basically a program that uses meditation and mindfulness exercises to help you become more aware of your thoughts and feelings without judgment.
So you can just observe them without getting swept away?
Exactly. It helps you create a little space between your thoughts and your reactions.
I can see how that would be useful.
It is. It's like training your mind to be more present and less reactive.
So the next time I'm freaking out about something, I should try some mindfulness.
It's definitely worth a shot.
Yeah.
Now, this next point might sound a little blunt, but it's a crucial element of resilience, accepting that life isn't always fair.
Ooh, that's a tough one.
It is. But both the art of improvement and pain-free. You highlighted this.
Meaning sometimes bad things just happen.
Right. And no one is immune to challenges or suffering.
That's a hard pill to swallow.
It is.
Yeah.
But recognizing this can actually be liberating. Because it helps you understand that you're not alone in your struggles.
We're all in this together.
Exactly. And it frees you from the expectation that everything should always go your way.
So it's not about giving up. It's about accepting reality.
Exactly. Resilient people acknowledge that difficult things happen. And instead of getting stuck in the unfairness of it all, they focus on what they can control.
Which is their response to the situation.
Exactly. It's about channeling your energy into effective action.
Okay, so acceptance isn't passive. It's actually a starting point for moving forward.
Precisely. Now, another hallmark of resilient people is their flexibility and creativity.
They're able to roll with the punches.
Exactly. Resilience isn't about being rigid and unyielding. It's about being adaptable and willing to pivot when things don't go as planned.
So like adjusting your course.
Exactly. The Art of Improvement talked about how sometimes the path you envisioned might be blocked, and resilience involves being open to finding alternative routes to reach your goals.
So you don't give up on the goal. You just find a different way to get there.
Exactly. And a great example of this is Laura Camp's house renovation, which was highlighted in Therapy in a Nutshell.
Oh yeah, I remember that one.
She ran into so many unexpected problems during that project, but instead of getting discouraged, she just kept problem solving and finding creative solutions.
Like a true DIY pro.
Right. She was amazing. And it made me think, have you ever had to significantly change your approach to a goal because of unforeseen challenges?
Oh yeah, all the time, especially in my line of work, things are constantly changing.
Right. So how have you adapted in those situations?
Well, I think the key is to be willing to let go of your initial plan and be open to new possibility
That's so important. And it leads us to another key strategy, focusing on what you can change.
instead of what you can't.
Exactly. This came up in the Art of Improvement, Psych2Go, and Therapy in a Nutshell.
It's about choosing your battles wisely.
It is. It's about directing your energy towards the aspects of a situation that you can actually influence rather than getting bogged down by things that are outside your control.
Because that can be so frustrating.
It can, and it's a waste of energy. So think about a challenge you're facing right now. Where are you spending time and energy on things you can't realistically change?
Okay, I see what you mean.
Could you redirect that focus towards something you can actually impact?
That's a good question to ask yourself.
It is, and it can make a huge difference in your ability to cope effectively.
Now, to balance out all that problem solving, we also need to talk about gratitude.
Oh, yes. Gratitude is so powerful.
It really is. Both the Art of Improvement and the Harvard stress expert emphasize the benefits of actively appreciating the good things in your life.
Even the small things.
Exactly, because it's so easy to focus on the negative.
It is. Our brains have a negativity bias.
They do, but we can retrain them.
Exactly. And one simple way to do that is to make a practice of writing down 3 things you're grateful for each day.
I've heard that's really helpful.
It is. It's like a gratitude journal.
It helps you shift your perspective.
It does. It helps you notice and appreciate the positive aspects of your life, even when things are tough.
Okay, I'm going to try that tonight.
I hope you do now. Let's dive a little deeper into the psychology of perspective and reframing.
Okay, this guy's good.
Dr. Aditi Narukar, who was featured in the Harvard Stress Expert video, made a really important distinction between adaptive stress and maladaptive stress.
So there's good stress and bad stress.
In a way, yes, adaptive stress is actually beneficial. It can motivate you and help you perform better.
Like when you have a deadline.
Exactly. It gives you that extra push. But maladaptive stress is the chronic, overwhelming kind that can be really harmful.
So it's about finding that sweet spot.
It is, and Dr. Narukar explained that when we experience stress, our brain's survival system, which is driven by the amygdala, can sometimes take over.
The amygdala, that's the part of the brain that deals with emotions, right?
Exactly. And when the amygdala is in charge, it can override the prefrontal cortex, which is responsible for higher-level thinking, planning, and impulse control.
So we're not thinking clearly.
Right. It's like our brain is reacting to a stressful email as if it were a saber-toothed tiger.
Wow, that's intense.
It is, but here's the good news. Our brains are incredibly adaptable.
They are.
That's called neuroplasticity, and it means that we can actually create new neural pathways that support healthier stress responses.
So we can rewire our brains.
In a way, yes. And cognitive reframing, which we talked about with gratitude, is a key tool for doing this.
So what we focus on really does matter.
It does. It shapes our brains. And Denise May, in her TEDx talk, really emphasized this. She encouraged us to shift away from a victim mentality when faced with challenges.
And to see obstacles as opportunities.
Exactly. She said it's about choosing your response to adversity.
Do you let it consume you, or do you use it as fuel for growth?
Exactly. And that choice has a profound impact on the outcome.
Oh, I am starting to see a pattern here.
What's that?
Resilience is all about mindset.
It's a huge part of it. Now, let's talk about the mind-body connection and some specific techniques for managing stress.
Okay, sounds good.
Dr. Narukar shared a really simple yet effective 3-second grounding exercise called Stop, Breathe, Be.
Stop, breathe, be. I like that.
It's a quick way to anchor yourself in the present moment, especially when you're feeling anxious.
Which is often future-focused.
Exactly. So you just stop what you're doing, take a deep breath, and focus on your current experience.
Okay, that's easy enough.
It is. And Ethan Kross, who's done a lot of research on controlling our inner voice, introduced some fascinating distancing techniques.
Distancing techniques.
Yeah, like referring to yourself by your name or using the pronoun you when you're thinking through a problem.
So instead of saying, I'm so stressed, you would say, You're so stressed.
Exactly. It sounds weird, but it creates a little psychological distance, which can help you gain some objectivity.
Like you're talking to a friend.
Exactly. And he also talked about mental time travel.
Like time travel in your mind.
Yes, intentionally shifting your perspective to consider how the current challenge might look in the future or how you've overcome similar challenges in the past.
Oh, that's interesting.
It helps you broaden your viewpoint. And Cross also highlighted the benefits of spending time in nature.
Oh, yeah. Nature's so good for the soul.
It really is. He talked about how green spaces have a restorative effect on our minds and can even evoke feelings of awe, which helps us put our own problems into perspective.
It's like a reminder that we're part of something bigger than ourselves.
Exactly. So the next time you're feeling overwhelmed, try taking a walk in the park or even just looking at some plants in your home.
Okay, I'll give it a try.
Now, another really important aspect of resilience is learning to accept imperfection and failure as part of the human experience.
Oh, yeah, that's a tough one.
It is. But Sasha Shilkut, who gave a TEDx talk on this topic, said that resilient people normalize failure.
They don't beat themselves up about it.
Exactly. They see it as a necessary part of growth.
So it's not about avoiding failure. It's about learning from it.
Exactly. She talked about the idea of a margin of failure, especially in high-pressure fields where mistakes are inevitable.
So you give yourself permission to mess up.
In a way, yes, but the key is to seek feedback about those failures so you can learn and improve.
She called it failing forward.
Right. It's about extracting the lessons from your missteps and using them as stepping stones.
So think about a time you perceived as a failure.
Okay.
Can you reframe it now as a valuable learning experience?
That's a good exercise.
It is. And closely linked to this acceptance of failure is the role of self-compassion and kindness.
Oh, yeah. That's so important.
It is. Psych2Go reminded us that treating ourselves with patience and understanding is just as important as being kind to others.
Especially when we make mistakes.
Exactly. And Dr. Narikar pointed out that true resilience is cultivated through a lens of self-compassion.
So it's about offering yourself the same empathy and understanding that you would offer a friend.
So what would you say to a friend who was going through a tough time?
I would tell them that it's okay to not be okay and that they're not alone.
Exactly. And you deserve to hear those same words of comfort.
Now, Laura Kampf gave us a really practical tool for building resilience. She talked about creating a resilience toolbox.
A toolbox.
Yeah, it's like a collection of strategies and skills that you can draw upon when life gets tough.
So what kind of tools go in this toolbox?
Well, she highlighted the importance of cultivating a growth mindset.
That's the belief that your abilities can be developed.
Exactly. And she also talked about building a supportive network, managing uncomfortable emotions, focusing on what you can control, being flexible, and even using humor as a coping mechanism.
So it's a pretty diverse toolbox.
It is. And the key is to keep adding new tools as you learn and grow.
So what tools do you have in your toolbox?
Well, I'm definitely working on my growth mindset, and I try to prioritize self-care.
Those are good ones.
What about you? What tools do you rely on?
Well, I'm a big fan of journaling and spending time in nature.
Those are great tools, too. Now, Katty Morton brought up a really important point about the importance of taking care of our basic needs.
Like food and sleep.
Exactly. She used the acronym HLELP to remind us to address hunger, anger, loneliness, and tiredness.
Because if you're not taking care of yourself, it's hard to be resilient.
It's so true. It's like trying to run a marathon on an empty stomach.
You're going to crash.
Exactly. So take a moment to check in with yourself. Are you hungry, angry, lonely, or tired?
Okay, I'm actually feeling a little hungry.
Maybe grab a snack. And Kadi also emphasized the importance of managing our self-talk.
Oh yeah, that inner critic can be brutal.
It can, but we can learn to challenge those negative thoughts and practice self-compassion.
So how do we do that?
Well, becoming aware of your self-talk is the first step.
So paying attention to what you're saying to yourself.
Exactly. And then you can start to challenge those negative thoughts and replace them with more positive ones.
Like using affirmations.
Yes, exactly. And Kadi also suggested using bridge statements, which are basically phrases that help you transition from negative to positive self-talk.
So instead of saying, I'm such a failure, you could say, I made a mistake, but I can learn from it.
Exactly. It's about shifting your perspective.
Okay, I like that.
Now, both Kadi Morton and Denise Mai talked about the importance of living with a sense of purpose.
Having something meaningful to work towards.
Exactly, and setting achievable goals.
Because that gives you a sense of direction and accomplishment.
It does, and it can really boost your resilience.
So what gives you a sense of purpose?
Well, I'm passionate about helping people learn and grow.
That's awesome.
What about you? What's your purpose?
I'm really driven by the idea of making a positive impact on the world.
I love that. And another key aspect of resilience is developing emotional literacy.
Meaning understanding our emotions.
Exactly. Cody Morton suggested using a feelings chart to expand your emotional vocabulary.
Well, that's a cool idea.
It can help you become more aware of the nuances of your emotions. And journaling can also be really helpful for exploring the origins and triggers of your feelings.
So you can start to see patterns.
Exactly. And finally, building a repertoire of healthy coping skills is essential for navigating life's challenges.
So things like exercise, spending time with loved ones, creative outlets, all of that.
Exactly. Cody stressed the importance of using these skills regularly, not just during times of crisis.
It's like preventative maintenance.
It's about building your emotional resilience so you're better equipped to handle whatever life throws your way.
Okay, I'm starting to feel more resilient already.
Me too. Now let's talk about the impact of trauma on resilience.
Okay, this is a heavy topic.
It is. Carol Taylor's insights into adverse childhood experiences, or ACEs, were really eye-opening.
ACEs, what are those?
Basically, they're traumatic events that happen during childhood, like abuse, neglect, or household dysfunction.
Oh, wow.
And Carol explained how these experiences can have a profound impact on our lifelong health and well-being.
Because they shape our brains.
Exactly. She said that chronic stress in childhood can activate the brain's fight-flight-freeze response, which can make us more sensitive to stress later in life.
So it's like our bodies are always on high alert.
In a way, yes. But the good news is that resilience can be built at any point in life.
Even if we've experienced trauma.
Exactly. Carol emphasized the power of loving, caring, and nurturing relationships.
So having those supportive people in our lives can make a huge difference.
She shared a really moving story about a teacher named Mrs. Smith who had a profound impact on a young boy named Drew who had experienced a lot of adversity in his life.
And she showed him that he was worthy of love and support.
Exactly. And Marna Canterbury, who spoke on Tasha Shu's panel, talked about the importance of reducing the stigma around mental health.
Because it's okay to not be okay.
It is. And acknowledging that is the first step towards seeking help and support.
So we need to create a culture where people feel comfortable talking about their struggles.
Exactly. Because connection and support are essential for healing and growth.
Okay, I'm seeing a theme here.
What's that?
Resilience is not just about individual strength. It's also about community and connection.
That's a beautiful insight, and it brings us to our final point. Resilience is an ongoing process.
Not a destination.
Exactly. Dr. Tracy Marks and the insights from Ayoshesh reminded us that resilience isn't something you achieve once and then you're done.
It's a journey.
It's about continuously strengthening, adapting, learning, and growing.
So it's not just about bouncing back. It's about bouncing forward.
I love that. And it involves improving how we think, how we regulate our emotions, and how we care for our physical well-being.
So it's holistic?
It is. It's about taking care of our minds, our bodies, and our spirits.
Okay, so what's the one key takeaway from all of this?
Well, for me, it's that resilience is a skill that we can all develop.
And it's not about being perfect. It's about progress.
Exactly. It's about those small, intentional actions that we take each day to strengthen our inner resources.
And to build those supportive connections.
Exactly. So as you go about your day, think about which of these resilience-building strategies resonated most with you.
And what's one small action you can take today to start building your own resilience muscle?
Because remember, every little bit counts.
And we're all in this together.
Exactly. And we would love to hear from you. What other aspects of resilience are you curious about?
Please share your thoughts and questions with us. We're all on this journey of learning and growth together.
Until next time, stay resilient.
And keep diving deep.
To summarize, you've just taken another powerful step toward building unshakable resilience, not just in your mind, but deep within your brain and daily habits. Every time you choose to show up, reflect, and put these tools into action, you're reshaping the way you respond to stress and adversity. Resilience isn't a destination, it's a practice. It's built in the quiet moments, the tough conversations, and the times you decide not to give up. So keep going. Keep rewiring your thoughts, building your calm, and standing firm in your strength. You are more capable than you think, and your future self, the one who's steady, strong, and unshakably resilient, is already being built right now. Thanks again for joining us. If you know someone who could use a little encouragement today, be sure to share this episode with them. Until next time, keep nurturing your mind, transforming your life, and reclaiming your power, one holistic step at a time. And if you missed part 1, just click the video on the screen now to watch it. I'll see you there.